Question 23 ଆମେ last class ଛାଡି ଦେଇଥିଲା. Which name among the following was dropped by Abul Fazl while listing musicians of Akbar's court? Okay, just a second. Akbar's court, okay. Akbar ra time period ताल देखिदवा टिके. Akbar ruled from 1556 to 1605. So जोटा की option दिया है जी, these all are contemporaries of Akbar. So which name among the following was dropped by Abul Fazl? Abul Fazl was among the Navaratnas of Akbar's court. He was a historian, his court historian. Abul Fazl ये ऊपर हमें देखी चले last class के आंसर देख दवा. Abul Fazl, he was one of the greatest historians of India. His major work was Akbarnama that was written in 1595, written by the order of Akbar. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କାମ ଥିଲା ତାଙ୍କର ଆଇନି ଅକବରୀ, a statistical account of the empire. आईनी अकबरी आईन मान ताकर अकबर का टाइम रे जहाँ सोसाइटी जहाँ लॉ थिला that it is related to that. Originally this आईनी अकबरी was known as आईना ई मुकद्दस ई शाही, but later it was called आईनी अकबरी. He Abul Fazl also composed munajat. Munajat कौन? It is centered around Abul Fazl's invocation of God, idea of God. Okay. Also he also wrote the introduction of the Persian translation of Mahabharata, that is Razamnama. तो अकबर का टाइम रे बहुत गुडे तमे जानथिबो अकबर followed the policy of surely cool, that is policy of toleration towards all religions. So he engaged many scholars to translate Indian text into Persian and vice versa. Okay, so Abul Fazl has wrote the introduction of Persian translation of Mahabharata. That is Persian translation of Mahabharata is called Razamnama. And Abul Fazl कर बहुत एक letter भी अच्छी जोटा की that was compiled posthumously by his nephews Abdul Samad and Naruddin Muhammad. That is Mukkatabat-e-Alami and Rakat-e Abul Fazli. These are letters that were written by Abul Fazl. That was letter compiled by his nephew. Okay, this is all about Abul Fazl. So he was a history. He was started with recording the history in Akbar's court. Okay, तापर जहाँ वाला ऑप्शन वाला दिया है देख दवा. First is Surdas. So Surdas, like Homer was born blind, Surdas was a bhakti saint. Okay, so he was a bhakti saint, and again, like the Amarjinti Santha Kavi Bhimo Bhoi, he was associated with Mahima Dharma, but he was also born blind. Similarly, Surdas was born blind, and he was the chief among the 8 poets who are considered to be reprints in the mold of their master Ballavacharya. Okay, so he was the student of Ballavacharya. Ballavacharyaଙ୍କର 8 ଜଣ prominent students ଥିଲେ, and these 8 students are reprints of their master. Okay, so because they are reprints of their master, ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ଅଷ୍ଟଛପ କବିସ୍ କୁହାଯାଏ. ଅଷ୍ଟଛପ ମାନେ they are copies of their master Ballavacharya. Okay, ଅଷ୍ଟଛପ କବି of Vallabha Sampradaya. Okay, so please note that in Vallabha Sampradaya, Sri Krishna is worshipped as Srinath Ji. Okay, Srinath Ji, it is a form of Krishna. Okay, and Srinath Ji is worshipped in many parts of Rajasthan and Gujarat even today also. Okay, so in this form, Krishna is always shown as a 7-year-old boy, and Surdas was commissioned by Vallabhacharya to celebrate Krishna's Leela. Okay, in song form. Okay, so Vallabhacharya first administered Diksha to Surdas, made him his disciple. Again, Vallabhacharya also he is the founder of Pushti Marg. पुष्टि मार्ग कौन एटा भी हमें देखि दवा. एटा हमरो पी सिलेबस रे अछि, आर्ट एंड कल्चर सिलेबस रे. ओके, so Vallabhacharya was the founder of Pushti Marg that believes in a personal god and the need to win his grace, the grace of the personal god. Okay, Vallabha Sampradaya does not subscribe to theory that jiva and the world are illusory. ओके, तो ये बल्लभ संप्रदाय रे थ्योरीटा जो पुष्टि मार्ग रे एटा हमें या पर भी देखिबा. इट इज ओपन टू ऑल irrespective of caste, creed and gender. Again, Vallabhacharya, it is open to all irrespective of caste, creed and gender. And also Vallabhacharya he rejected asceticism, that is even householders can engage in spiritual pursuits. Okay, so Surdas he wrote Sur Sagar, the ocean of melody, that depicts the childhood pranks and exploits of Krishna. And Surda's standing among the poets of Vallabha Sampradaya was such that the founding Acharya called him Ocean of Devotion. So Ocean of Devotion, a title ta kahaku jaichi Surdas ku, and Vallabhacharya's son, who was Vithalnath ji, he named him Ship of Pushtimarg. Okay, so এই जो title গুড়া মনে রাখিও, Ocean of Devotion, Ship of Pushtimarg, okay, Sur Sagar to এটা তাঙ্গ work, okay. So these keywords you should remember. Vithalnath ji, he called him the Ship of Pushtimarg to Surdas. Surdas mane humble servant of melody. Surdas, that is servant of melody or music. Okay. So he spent most of his life in Braj Bhumi. Okay. Braj Bhumi, jota ki Braj Bhumi in the area of Mathura and Vrindavan. Braj Bhumi re तमरा गोटे ब्रज भाषा भी चले ब्रज भाषा. So Brajbhumi, Mathura, Vrindavan area. So that area is connected to the early life of Lord Krishna. Okay. So early life of Lord Krishna, that is Mathura, Vrindavan. So that area, जोटा कि ଏବେ मथुरा वृंदावन यूपी रे अछि तो से एरिया टाको हमर एबे ब्रज कोआतला आगु. Okay. And because he was blind, Surdas was neglected from childhood by his father and family. Okay. Surdas was 6 years when he left home. All right. So this was all about Surdas, and Surdas was the, as we saw, Surdas was the student of Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya को ऊपर टिके देखी दवा. Okay, Vallabhacharya, he was born in 1479 in Chhattisgarh, Champaranya, Chhattisgarh. Okay, so it was a notable event in life. In 1497, he participated in a debate in Jagannath Puri, where he advocated the doctrine of Shuddha Advaita. Okay, এই ডিবেটটা উইন কলা পরে he got the title of Acharya and Jagat Guru, that is world teacher. Okay, Jagat Guru Acharya, this is associated with Vallabhacharya. Okay, so his teaching focused on accessible and loving relationship with Lord Krishna. He established the Pushti Marg, okay, a sect of Vaishnavism that dedicated to the divine grace and devotional love and service to Krishna. Okay, Pushti Marg, that is path of grace. Okay, so that his philosophy was Shuddha Advaita, that is pure non-dualism. Okay, it presents a unique view of reality where the world and individual soul are seen manifestations of the divine. Okay, with no separation. Okay, so Shuddha Advaita ra ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବା. It is pure non-dualism. Okay, so unlike Advaita Vedanta says that there is absolute oneness between individual and the Brahma. Okay, so आत्मा ଆଉ परमात्मा भितर सेमती किसी डिफरेंस ही नाही. आत्मा ही परमात्मा. Okay, so जोटा कि अहम ब्रह्मास्मि, that is the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta. Okay, Shuddha Advaita says that Atma Paramatma same, but Atma is a part of Param Brahma, part of Brahma. Okay, part of Paramatma, and it is not the whole. It is a part. All right. So Advaita Vedanta says Atma and Brahma are one, and Shuddha Advaita says Atma is a part of Brahma. It is a part of Brahma. It is not the whole of Brahma. Okay. And Krishna is the supreme being. Worship of Krishna is the supreme being. Okay, through devotion, one can achieve salvation. Okay, he rejected asceticism, as I have already said. Rejected asceticism and monastic life, and suggested that salvation could be attained by anyone, including householders. Okay, through devotion. Importance of Bhagavad Puran. Okay, so Bhagavad Puran, this was written by Vedvyas. Okay. Vallabhacharya placed importance on Bhagavad Puran, okay, as the main scripture of his school. Institutional worship. So he initiated the institutional worship of Srinathji. As I've said, Srinathji, it is a form of Krishna, where Krishna is shown as a 7-year-old. Okay, he started this in the at the Govardhan Hill. Okay, so uh, Govardhan Hill, it is in UP now. Okay, today it is in UP. And Ballavacharya's teaching and philosophy have lasting impact on Vaishnava tradition, especially in Rajasthan and Gujarat. Okay, so Rajasthan and Gujarat area re, Srinath ji, jo form of Krishna, that is worshipped till today. That was inspired by Ballavacharya. Okay, so and institutional worship at Govardhan Hill, UP, Mathura district. Okay, Mathura district. This is in south of New Delhi now. Okay, current day. All right. So Surdas upre sarla. Next is Ramdas. Okay, about Sant Ramdas. Okay, Sant Ramdas is also called Samarth Ramdas. Samarth Ramdas. Okay, his full name was Narayan Suryajit Hosar. Born in 1608, he died in 1681 at Sajangarh, Maharashtra. Okay, born at 1608. Okay, he was born during the time of Ram Navami. Okay, he adopted the title Ramdas, slave of Ram. Okay, he was he was also a bhakti saint who was devoted to Lord Ram. Okay, his literary works, that is Das Pod, his most famous prose work containing spiritual guidance and worldly wisdom, Manache Slok. Okay, Manache Slok, that is guiding the mind towards righteousness. Okay, so Ramdas also traveled throughout India and he has wrote two books. Those are uh, Asmani Sultania and Parachakra Nirupan. Okay. Asmani Sultania and Parachakra Nirupan. Okay, these texts, because he has traveled throughout India, these texts give insight into the prevalent social conditions in Indian subcontinent in his times. Okay, 1608 to 1681. Okay, so देखो এটা तुमको contemporary of Akbar कहिची, but देखो 1556 to 1605 Akbar ruled. Okay, but he was born in 1608. Okay, so तुम जदि এটা জানছো, you can eliminate the option Ramdas. Okay, so quote point ତ ହେଇନଥିବ because Akbar retired in 1605. Okay, so okay, so ଆଉ ତ ଦେଖିଦବା ତାଙ୍କର literary works Atmaram, Karunastaka, various Abhanga. Okay, so as I said, he was a bhakti sant. He promoted Ram Bhakti, okay, and physical discipline. So Bhakti plus Shakti, okay. So he emphasized on Hanuman worship as the symbol of strength and devotion, okay. He inspired the concept of Hindu Swaraj, okay, advocated for self-rule, unity, and strength among Hindus. Yeah, he was a spiritual guide to Chhatrapati Shivaji, okay. So Chhatrapati Shivaji actual main spiritual guide was Sant Tukaram, as you know, okay. So Sant Tukaram was the main spiritual guide of Chhatrapati Shivaji, but he was also inspired by Sant Ramdas. Okay, Sant Tukaram. So he also born in 1608, same year as Ramdas, in 1650. Okay, he guided Shivaji. Okay, he was the guided because he significantly impressed Shivaji. Okay, Shivaji's reign in 1630 to 1680. So you all know this. Okay. So he was a guide. He was a guide to Chhatrapati Shivaji. He believed in karma yoga, path of action, balance with bhakti. Tam bhakti kariyo plus karma karibo. Okay. He asked people to live with discipline, fearlessness and devotion to duty. He opposed social evils. Okay. So Sajangarh today, his final resting place is a pilgrim site today. Okay. His vision of combining spiritual awakening with national consciousness. Okay. So this is a unique case, unique thing about Sant Ramdas. Okay. So Ramdas ऊपर देखिए ना, तानसेन. Okay. So Tansen, he was originally called Ramtanu Pandey. Okay. So one of the greatest ever in the history of Indian music, born in 1500 AD near Gwalior. Okay. Died in 1586. All right. So Tansen, he was born in a Hindu Brahmin family, Ramtanu Pandey. His guru was Swami Haridas. Who was Swami Haridas? Again, he was also a Bhakti sant. We'll see about him in this, okay, in this next slide. Okay. Swami Haridas, he was a saint and musician of Bhakti movement, devotee of Lord Krishna. He trained from Swami Haridas. Okay, and from a young age, he was trained in Dhrupad, a classical style of Hindustani music. Okay, so Tansen in Akbar's court, Tansen was invited by Akbar to join his court in 1562. He was one of the Akbar's nine Navaratnas. Okay, so Tansen, this title was not given to Tansen by Akbar. This title, okay, Tansen title was given to Tansen by Raja Vikramjit of Gwalior. Okay. Raja Vikramjit of Gwalior, he gave the title of Tansen to Ramtanu Pandey. Okay. Akbar ତାଙ୍କୁ ଗୋଟେ title ଦେଇଥିଲେ. Okay. Akbar ତାଙ୍କୁ title ଦେଇଥିଲେ. Okay. ଯୋଉଟା କି ଏଠି ଦେଇଛି, he awarded him the title Mia. Okay. Again, that means respected man, but he also gave him the title Kanthavarana Bani Vilas. Okay. Kanthavarana Bani Vilas, this title was given to Ramtanu Pandey by Akbar, and also Mia title was given to him by Akbar. Okay, so his name was Mia Tansen. Okay, since then, so Tansen was the also the court poet of Akbar, and okay, Tansen was the court poet. Mia Tansen, he was the court poet of both Akbar plus Raja Ramchandra Singh. Raja Ramchandra Singh of Rewa. Okay. So this Rewa, now it is in Madhya Pradesh. Okay. So he was the court poet of both Akbar and Raja Ramchandra Singh, and Raja Vikramjit of Gwalior awarded him the title of Tansen. Okay. Musical contributions. He played a crucial role in shaping Hindustani classical music, developed many ragas, Miyaki Todi, Miyaki Malhar, Miyaki Sarang. Okay. Drupad style of singing and expertise thela. Okay. He systemized many ragas and talas. Okay. Tansen was the founder of Gwalior Gharana. Gwalior Gharana. Okay. So Gwalior Gharana, it is a school of Hindustani classical music. Okay. Gwalior Gharana, he was the founder of Gwalior Gharana. Okay. So legends about Tansen. Okay, so he's ଏଇଟା କୁହାଯାଇଛି ଯେ he sang ରାଗ ଦୀପକ ସେ ଗୀତ ଗାଇଲେ ଲ୍ୟାମ୍ପ ଗୁଡା ଜଳି ଯାଉଥିଲେ ମେଘ ମଲ୍ହାର it could cause rain. Okay, he could tame animals, calm storms, great times. So also these are too good to be true. These are just folk tales. Okay, so these are not to be believed. Okay, so death and legacy. He died in 1586 and buried at Gwalior. Okay, he also had a Sufi mentor, that is Mohammad Ghaus. Okay, so ଯେହେତୁ ଭକ୍ତି ଆଉ ସୁଫି ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ସେଇ ଟାଇମରେ ଚାଲିଥିଲା ସୁଫି ମେଣ୍ଟର ତାଙ୍କ ଜଣେ ଥିଲେ ମୋହମ୍ମଦ ଘାଉସ along with ସ୍ୱାମୀ ହରିଦାସ. Okay, so till today Tansen Samaro, that is Tansen Music Festival, is held annually at Gwalior in his honor. Okay, so this was all about Tansen. Okay, Tansen the teacher Swami Haridas. Okay, Swami Haridas ତାଙ୍କ ଗୋଟେ ଦେଖିଦବା 16th century bhakti poet, devotee of Lord Krishna, one of the founding figures of Hindustani classical music. Okay, so birth around 1480, death around 1575 at Vrindavan. Okay, he belonged to the Nimbarka Sampradaya. Okay, Nimbarka Sampradaya, it deals with the worship of Radha and Krishna. Okay, and Radha is considered as an inseparable part of Lord Krishna. Okay, so the Radha Krishna worship, Nimbarka Sampradaya. So Radha is considered inseparable part of Lord Krishna. Okay, so he was one of the pioneers of Drupad style. He has merged bhakti poetry with classical music. Okay, again in Kohli Radha Krishna's love, particularly in Vrindavan. Okay, Tansen, he taught Tansen. Okay, emphasized that music is a form of devotion and not entertainment. Okay, so he composed numerous bhajans, padas, and verses in Braj Bhasha. Okay, Braj Bhasha जोटा हम कहते हैं Braj Bhumi जोटी थिला around Mathura Vrindavan, that language prevalent in Braj Bhumi. Okay, that is the Braj Bhasha. Okay. So his philosophy is promoted devotion, power of music to invoke presence of God. Okay, so Radha is not just a devotee but a very embodiment of divine. And Swami Haridas made Vrindavan a center of devotional music and culture. Okay, the famous Banke Bihari temple in Vrindavan. Okay, that is associated with divine visions of Krishna. Okay, so this was all about Swami Haridas. Okay, so again, Haridas as the guru of Tansen. Uh, he was the court poet of Ram Singh Tomar. Okay, Raja Man Singh Tomar. Raja Man Singh Tomar, ତାଙ୍କ କୋର୍ଟ ପଢିଥିଲେ ସ୍ୱାମୀ ହରିଦାସ. Okay, so this was in Gwalior. Okay, so Gwalior ଘର ନିମ୍ବର୍କ ସମ୍ପ୍ରଦାୟ. ତ ଆମର ଦେଖିଦବା ଆମର ଦେଖିଲେ ତାଙ୍କର ହରିଦାସଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ତାନସେନଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ତ ନବରତ୍ନ of Akbar କୋର୍ଟ ଏଇଟା ବି ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବା. Okay, because ଏଇଟା ମେ ବି ଆସିପାରେ. ତ ନବରତ୍ନ ଆମେ ଯେମିତି ଦେଖିଲେ ଯୋଉଟା ସବୁ ଅପସନ ଦିଆ ହେଇଥିଲା ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରୁ ନବରତ୍ନ ବି ଅଛନ୍ତି. ଅବୁଲ ଫଜଲ, he was the chief advisor and post historian, author of Akbarnama and Aini Akbari. Okay. Faizi, he was a poet, elder brother of Abul Fazl. Tansen, musician. Okay. Birbal, courtier and advisor. Okay, he was intelligence, humor and diplomacy. Raja Todarmal, finance minister. He implemented land revenue reforms, introduced the Jabat system. Okay, land revenue. Raja Mansingh, he was a district general and noble. He led many military campaigns. Okay, Raja Mansingh, he defeated Maharana Pratap at the Battle of Haldighati. Okay, 1576. You know this. Okay. So and Abdul Rahim Khani Khanna. Okay, he's a poet and scholar. Hindi Doha, Persian works. Also a military commander. Okay, and Fakir Azayuddin, spiritual advisor to Akbar, known for religious tolerance. Okay, Sulhi Kul of Akbar, and Mullah Dopiaja. Okay, he was a court wit and scholar, known for comic and clever anecdotes. Okay, and there are some dialogues between him and witty dialogues between him and Raja Birbal. Okay, between Mullah Dopiaja and Raja Birbal. Okay, so these were the Navaratnas of Akbar's court. Okay, so I think it is Allah so. Next, Baiju Bawra. Okay, so Baiju Bawra. Okay, so he's known as Bajirat Misra. Okay, legendary Indian musician in medieval India, but he's best remembered for musical duets. Okay, but please note that this anecdotes about Bawra, they don't have any historical authenticity. Okay, so Baiju Bawra, he lives in the folk tales of people. Okay, so he doesn't have any historical accuracy. Okay, so ଟିକେ ଦେଖିବା ତାଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ବାଇଜୁ ବାଉରା possibly Bajinath Misra. Okay, late 15th to 16th century, contemporary of Tansen. Okay, place of birth maybe Champanar, maybe Gwalior. Okay, possibly under Swami Haridas patronage. Some legends link him to Mansingh Tomar. Okay, Drupal style. Okay, so he had extraordinary control of ragas. Okay, created magical effects with music. So this is not true. Okay, these all are false things. Okay, so ଗୋଟେ ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ legacy ଅଛି. He engaged in a musical duel with Tansen and defeated Tansen. Okay, so but this historical accuracy of this event is debated. Okay, so Baura, ତାଙ୍କୁ Baura କାହିଁ କୁହାଯାଏ? Baura means mad or madly devoted. Okay, some say that Bawra means Baiju was Baiju had intense love and obsession for music. Okay. It does not mean mental instability. Okay. But some legends say he loved this Baiju Bawra. He loved a girl named Kalavati. Okay. But Kalavati married someone else and he became mad. Okay. So, କିଛି ଆଙ୍କର କିଛି ଠିକ ସେ ବହୁତ ଗୁଡେ conflicting accounts ଅଛି. Okay. Conflicting accounts ଅଛି. So, maybe এটা ମାନେ ଏତେ accurate ନୁହଁ. Okay. And legacy, there is no written composition directly attributed to him. Okay, legends lives on through oral traditions. Okay, ତାଙ୍କ ନାଁରେ ଗୋଟେ ଫିଲ୍ମ ବି ହେଇଥିଲା. Okay, so ଦେଖ ତ ଅପସନ ଯାହା ବି ଦେଇଛି Surdas, Ramdas, Tansen, Baiju Bawra. Okay, so which of the following was dropped by Abul Fazal while listing musicians in Akbar's court? Okay, so Abul Fazal was a historian. ସେ କୋଉ କୋଉ musician को list କରୁଛନ୍ତି, that is impossible. ସେ କାହାକୁ list କରିଥିଲେ, କାହାକୁ drop କରିଥିଲେ, this is impossible task for us to remember. Okay, but ତମେ option ଦେଖିବ ଯଦି Baiju Bawra is the answer because this person is a legend, has no historical accuracy. Okay, ତାଙ୍କର ଆଜିକାଲି historical accuracy ନାହିଁ, ତ ସେ time ର maybe ସେ ନଥାଇ ପାରନ୍ତି. Okay, because the A option is the most likely option because these options are more accurate. These are persons. Okay, they have some historical accuracy or some historical credibility. Okay, so answer will be Baiju Bawra. Okay, so ଏଇଟା ଆମ ଥିଲା last class ର question ଗୋଟେ. Okay, next, who among the following established Diwani Amir Kothi during Delhi Sultanate? Okay, Diwani Amir Kothi, about the options. ଆମେ ଯୋଉ option ଗୋଟେ ଦେଖିଦବା. Okay, Delhi Sultanate, as you all know, Delhi Sultanate ରେ 5ଟା dynasty ଥିଲେ. ଜାଣିଥିବ ତଥାପି ମୁଁ ଲେଖି ଦଉଛି ଏଠି. Okay, Delhi Sultanate ରେ 5ଟା dynasty ଥିଲେ. First was the Mamluk dynasty. Okay, Mamluk dynasty or the slave dynasty that ruled Delhi from 1206 to 1290. Okay, next comes the Khalji dynasty. Khalji dynasty, they ruled from 1290 to 1320. Okay. Then the Tughlaq dynasty. Tughlaq dynasty ruled from 1320 to 1414. Then comes the Sayyid dynasty. Sayyid dynasty, they ruled from a relatively short period. Then the last dynasty was the Lodi dynasty, 1451 to 1526. Then came the Mughals. Okay, so Delhi Sultanate ର ପାଞ୍ଚଟା dynasty ଥିଲେ. Okay, so who dynasty introduced the Diwani Amir Kothi? Okay, so Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji ଉପରେ ठीक है देखिदवा ओके तो गोटे जिनस देखिदव अबाउट अबुल फजल ओके यांकर गोटे अबुल फजल ही इज ए हिस्टोरियन सो ही ताकर गोटे थ्योरी देइतले थ्योरी ऑफ पदशाहत Patsahat, what does this Patsahat means? The emperor will rule as an agent of God. Okay. So emperor's decisions cannot be questioned. Okay. So this is similar to the divine rights of king. Okay. The theory that was prevalent in medieval Europe. Okay. So this Patsahat theory was given by Abul Fazal. So each choda chotu din choda thala. Okay. So let us move to ଆମର ଯେମିତି ଥିଲା ଆଲାଉଦ୍ଦିନ ଖିଲଜି ଓକେ ଆଲାଉଦ୍ଦିନ ଖିଲଜି ସୋ ତାଙ୍କର ସବୁ କଣ କଣ ରିଫର୍ମ କରିଥିଲେ ସେଇଟା ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବା ଓକେ ସୋ administrative reforms so he established just a second he established a strong centralized government okay he declared himself as the shadow of god believed him to be has to have the divine right to rule okay so this divine right to rule similar to the patsahat theory given by Abul Fazal. Okay, restricted marriage alliances and private meetings among nobles and officers, because as you know, Iltutmish had started the system of Chahalgani, where no 14 a group of 14 nobles were all powerful. Okay, so so Alauddin Khilji, he knew that the danger to his crown was from the nobles who had aspiration to take the throne. Okay, so he restricted them. Okay, he appointed spies to monitor nobility, confiscated excess wealth, prohibited wine, gambling, abstained from them himself. Okay, he also prevented interference of ulemas, okay, religious scholars in administration. Okay, so because he prohibited interference of religious scholars in administration, he was a bit secular. Okay, so military reforms. First Sultan to maintain a strong permanent standing army at the center. Okay, but aguru nobles ମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ army ଥିଲା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଡକା ହବ noble ମାନଙ୍କୁ they will provide troops but he maintained a strong permanent standing army. Previous Sultan depended on provincial nobles. Okay, five divisions of military were established. Yeah, five divisions of military. So that was what was the royal army, okay, provincial army. Royal army stayed with the king, provincial army in the provinces, feudal army. Okay, they served in both. Then war army. Okay, war army they specialized in wars. Okay, and holy war army. Holy war army engaged in religious wars. Okay, so the army is related to war. So war army ta कौन समझी? So so accurately speaking, I don't know. So exactly speaking, I don't know. So army is related is engaged in wars. So what is war army? So এটা ମୁଁ ଠିକ ସେ ଜାଣିନି, but এটা just history optional book ରେ ଗୋଟେ ଲେଖା ହେଇଥିଲା, so I am saying this. Okay, but I could not find its intricacies. Okay, so ତମେ ଖାଲି ଏଇଟା ମନେ ରଖ, ଏଟା ଏତେ ବି detail ରେ କିଛି ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ. 5 divisions of army were done by Alauddin Khilji. Okay, so Jagir system was abolished. Army was paid in cash. Okay, so foot soldier को किसी एम सब पैसा मिलता था एरा सब डिटेल वाला देखिदव. He introduced the dag and hulia system. Dag was the branding of horses. Hulia system registered the physical description of soldiers. Okay, his army soldiers were recruited by the Arij e Mumalik, that is the army minister. The army minister directly recruited the soldiers. Okay, so forts were repaired, loyal and well-trained commanders were appointed, kept spies within army. Okay, control prices. Okay, economic reforms, market control system to support army. Okay, he appointed the Sahanai Mandi. Okay, that is the market controller officer. Okay, so this Sahanai Mandi, he created a fixed price chart for essential commodities. These prices did not vary even during famines. Okay, so it created a stable economy. Okay, only licensed merchants could buy grains from cultivators. Capital advance were given to poor merchants. Okay, market prices were made uniform in Delhi across all towns. Okay, जल्दी किए cheating କରୁଥିଲା, harsh punishment were given. Traders were cheated in weights and measures. Okay, uh, traders were punished by cutting off equal weight of flesh from their body. Okay, so this is the market system was OCS 2022. Okay, market system, market reforms was asked in OCS 2022. Okay, so देखो तमे previous year question analysis कले option order analysis करे तमरो पर question की you can expect questions in terms of this pattern in future exams also. Okay, So, okay, so thank you for pointing out. Okay, so it OCS 2022 asthala. So we'll see about this in our when we deal with OCS 2022 PYQs. Okay, this was all about economic reforms. Then land measurement. Okay, land was measured, details were recorded. Old landlords used okay, old landlords were used as revenue assessors and collectors. Okay, tinta tax karagala. What is kharaj? That is tax on cultivation. 50% of produce mostly on Hindu peasants. Okay, Usar tax on Muslims, about one tenth of produce. Okay, and there were taxes on cattle and wholesale horses. Jagirdars, they acted as middlemen after taxes. Cultivators were left with little. Okay, Jagirdars, they collected taxes from cultivators and gave it to the king. Okay, he eliminated the Ikta system in Ganga Yamuna region. Okay, and brought land directly under crown control. Okay, so this Ikta system, this was started by Iltutmish. Okay. This was started by Iltutmish. So, एथेरे कौन होता ना land was divided into smaller iktas or small sections and granted to nobles, officials and soldiers for revenue collection. Okay, so छोट छोट land बांटा होतला nobles मान भितरे तो ताको cash रे किसी payment दिया होतला ताको land दिया होतला से land रो जहाँ revenue आसीबो सेटा तांकर. Okay, this iktas were iktas were administered by muktis. Okay, muktis. Iktas were administered by muktis. Okay, so okay. So Ikta system gala architectural contribution. He separated region from state. Okay, he was the first sultan to conquer south. Okay, as we all know, he sent Malik Kafur to conquer the south. Okay, he constructed the Hauji Khas, Siri Fort, Alai Darwaja. He repaired the Hauji Samsi Reservoir. Okay, this Hauji Samsi Reservoir, about 100-acre tank. Okay, this lake was he repaired it. This lake was built built by Iltutmish. Okay. So he repaired the Hauji Samsi. So this was all about Alauddin Khilji. Okay. So as we saw, Khilji ର କେମିତି କିଛି ନଥିଲା ଦିୱାଲି ଆମୀର କହି. Next about Firoz Shah Tughlaq and Muhammad bin Tughlaq. We'll see about the Tughlaq dynasty. Okay. So Tughlaq kings, Tughlaq Tughlaq. There are three kings. ମାନେ prominently three kings. ତାଙ୍କ ପରେ ବି ଥିଲେ, but they were not of that much importance. First king was Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Okay. So I will write him a GST. Okay. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Okay. 1320 to 25. Okay. Then comes the Muhammad bin Tughlaq, MBT, 1325 to 1351. Okay. Then comes Firoz Shah Tughlaq, FST. Okay. From 1351 to 1388. Okay. So Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, he established the Tughlaq dynasty. Then came Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Okay. 1325 to 51. So he was a very controversial sultan. Okay. So he was the only Delhi Sultan with extensive literary, religious, and philosophical education and military training. Okay, so he was the only Delhi Sultan who was educated. Okay, so please note that despite education, he was not successful. But Akbar, he was illiterate, but he was a successful ruler. Okay, so Tughlaq was the only educated. Okay, he was misunderstood by contemporary historians like Barani and Ibn Battuta. Okay, they did not see his vision actually. So he his visions. Okay, he did them with good intention, but the results went south every time. Okay, so he promote Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He promoted intelligent administrators with humble backgrounds. Okay, and he disappointed nobles. Okay, so he also invited foreigners to his court, face resistance from old nobles who refused to cooperate. Okay, so Muhammad bin Tughlaq time ରେ ଗୋଟେ ମଙ୍ଗଲ invasion ହେଇଥିଲା. Okay, ତ ଏଇଟା may be ପଚାରି ପାରେ. This becomes important. ତମର ଇଲତୁତମିଶ ଙ୍କ time ରେ ମଙ୍ଗଲ invasion ହେଇଥିଲା. Muhammad bin Tughlaq time ରେ ବି ମଙ୍ଗଲ invasion ହେଇଥିଲା. Okay, during Alauddin Khalji also repelled a Mongol invasion. Okay. So, repulsed the Mongol invasion soon after ascending the throne, and no further Mongol attacks occurred during his reign. Okay, so he dealt with rebellion of his governor, cousin Gursap. He was the governor of Sagar. This Sagar place is now at Gulbarga. Sagar. Gulbarga. This is currently called Kalaburgi. Kalaburgi, Karnataka. Okay. Kalaburgi district, Karnataka. Okay. Present day. Transfer of capital to Daulatabad. Okay. Wanted to make Devgiri and renamed it Daulatabad. Okay. Daulatabad means abode of wealth. Daulatrabad. Okay. So Daulatabad in today it is in Maharashtra. Daulatabad as a second capital due to its central location. Okay. So Delhi Sultanate तो दिल्ली टा north रे रहुतला ताकर south empire माना पाई से बहुत distance ही जाउतला. So he wanted to shift capital to Daulatabad so that central location रे रहिबो and administration is distributed equitably throughout his sultanate. Okay. So he ordered migration of royal household ulema Sufi from Delhi to Daulatabad. It was enforced very harshly. Okay. लोग इतने बाटा चाली के आसीबे but लोग चाली के आसिले. No mass exodus occurred. Okay, so this resulted in decline in Delhi's cultural life. Okay, but both capitals coexisted. Okay, तापरे this campaign was also a failure. Okay, so out thala takar Karachi expedition. Okay, the Chinese they incurred into the Kangra region. Okay, Kangra region it is today in Himachal Pradesh. Okay, they incurred into uh, Kangra region. So he sent an army to repulse the Chinese, but after repulsing the Chinese, his army advanced into Tibet, where it was annihilated by local hill tribes. Okay, so the commander exceeded his orders. Okay, so this was a military setback for Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Okay, so introduced token currency in bronze and copper coins, equal in value to silver tankas. Okay. To his goal was to fill gap in gold and silver reserves. Okay, gold and silver reserves re कम थीला, so he introduced bronze and copper coins. This led to forgery by goldsmith because bronze and copper this is widely available. That was first. It led into economic chaos. Okay. So the scheme failed. Sultan had to withdraw the currency and redeem even forged coins with genuine gold. Okay, causing financial loss. ताको treasury पूरा empty हो गया. Okay. So heaps of bronze coins were piled up near Tughlaqabad. Okay, this was written in by Baroni. Baroni was a historian. Okay, so again land revenue तांकर एजु token currency experiment fail हला परे to again recuperate the royal treasury, he increased the land revenue to 50% of gross produce. Okay, so this caused wide resentment. Farmer burned grains and abandoned fields. Towns like Bulandshahr witnessed revolts. Okay, Bulandshahr, it is in UP. Okay, so earlier it was called Baran. Okay, Baran or Bulandshahr. This rebellion was crushed, but Sultan later initiated agriculture relief. He introduced the Takkavi loans. Okay, to buy seeds, dig wells, and promote cultivation. Okay, Takkavi loans, agricultural loans, was introduced by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Okay, he also established the Diwani Kohi. This is the Ministry of Agriculture. Okay, to convert barren lands into cultivable land. Okay, so again, many opportunists misuse the state funds if they promise that they will cultivate the barren lands, but use the funds for personal use. Okay. So this was also misused. Okay. Diwani Kohi. The our option पचार who established Diwani Amir Kothi. Okay. So एମିତି କିଛି ନାହିଁ Kothi. Okay. This is Kohi. So this was also called Diwani Amir Kohi. Okay. So this Diwani Kohi or Diwani Amir Kohi was established by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So that is the answer. Okay. So तांको time रे rebellion भी ହେଇଥିଲା. Okay. So Sayyid Hasan Shah, governor of Mabar. Okay. He found the Madurai Sultanate. So this can be a prelims question. So this Mabar, this is a region in Tamil Nadu. Okay. Tamil Nadu ade. Sayyid Hasan Shah, he found the Madurai Sultanate during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Okay. Vijayanagar kingdom was also found in 1336 during his time by, as you all know, Hariharan Bukka. Okay. Just a second. Okay. So Warangal and Kampali, they declared independence. At Bidar, plague struck the Sultan's army. He fell ill. Okay. This Bidar is in Karnataka. Okay. Then northern Karnataka. Bidar, uh, Bidar रे plague ହେଇଗଲା. Sultan को भी नीचे को plague ହେଇଗଲା. Okay. So he multiple governors rebelled for succession. Okay. Again, Awadh ର ଜଣେ ଥିଲେ Ain ul Mulk Multani. He posed a serious challenge to the Sultan, but he was defeated. Okay, Bengal also became independent. 1347, Hassan Gangu founded the Bahamani Kingdom of Deccan. Okay, So final years he spent his years pursuing the rebel Taggi, okay, while trying to reorganize Gujarat administration. Okay, so he was also a noble Taggi. He took shelter in Thatta. Thatta is today in Pakistan. Okay, Pakistan. So Sultan marched towards Thatta but died en route. Okay. So Badauni, this said, historian, he said that the death of the Sultan freed the people from him and him from the people. Okay. So this phrase can also be a previous question. Okay. In the next subsequent years. Okay. So এটা গলা তোমার মোহাম্মদ মোহাম্মদ বিন তুগলক উপরে ওকে আনসার ইজ অলসো মোহাম্মদ বিন তুগলক ফেরোজ শাহ তুগলক উপরে ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦେବା ଓକେ ଜାଣିଛି ଏଠି ଟିକେ ବହୁତ ଲମ୍ବା ଲମ୍ବା ହଉଛି ବଟ୍ ଯଦି ଅପସନ ଟା ଆସିଛି ଆମେ ତାକୁ ଟିକେ ପୁରା ପୁରା କ୍ଲିୟରଲି ସବୁ ଯାକ ଯଦି ଡିଟେଲରେ ଦେଖିଦବା ତାହେଲେ ଆମକୁ ଫ୍ୟୁଚରରେ ଏଟା ସୁବିଧା ହବ ଓକେ ତ ଫିରୋଜ ଶାହ ତୁଗଲକ 1351 to 1388 okay long time 37 years okay but his reign had two distinct phases that is first phase 20 years okay so he reversed the centralizing tendencies of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, restored peace and prosperity, reintroduced Sharia laws, and publicly inscribed the Sharia laws on an octagonal tower near Firozabad Jami Mosque. Okay. So Firozabad, this Firozabad was this city was established by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. ସେଠି ଗୋଟେ tower ଅଛି that is the Jami Mosque. Okay, it is an octagonal tower. Okay, ତମେ ଏଟା ଦେଖିବ ତମର ଏଥିରେ art and culture ରେ ତମର it is like an octagon. Okay, octagon ଉପରେ ଗୋଟେ dome ଅଛି. Okay, so this dome is not present today. It is dilapidated. Okay, so he introduced Sharia laws. Okay, his Wazir Khan Jahan Makbul. Okay, he upheld the Sultan's prestige. Okay, ତାଙ୍କର last years ରେ finds he declined in strength, prosperity, central authority, administrative decentralization ବଢିଗଲା that led to weakness. Okay, so administrative reforms କଣ ଥିଲେ? Agricultural loans from previous regime were written off. Agricultural loans were written off. He compensated the families of those unjustly executed by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Deposited letters of gratitude at his predecessors. Sentopa mane Sentopa. This is a monument where that is built to commemorate someone who is buried elsewhere. Okay, ଯେମିତି India Gate is a Sentopa because ଯୋଉ soldier ମାନେ ଶହୀଦ ହେଇଛନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କର burial ଆଉ କୋଉଠି ଥିବ but India Gate is made to commemorate those martyrs. Okay, so similarly Muhammad bin Tughlaq Sentopa he compensated the families and he deposited letters of gratitude at his Sentopa. Okay, he land revenue reforms and 6 years crop survey ଗୋଟେ କରିଥିଲେ. He fixed the permanent revenue that is Jama of 6 crore 75 lakh tankas. Okay, this was the annual revenue of the Sultanate. That is 6 crore 75 tankas. Okay, this was fixed. Okay, he improved agriculture through wells and canals, special taxes to abolish kale. Okay, 28 urban items to abolish kale that was considered un-Islamic. Okay, he abolished the tax. Okay, so developed karkhanas using slaves recruited via the Diwani Bandhagan. This was a Diwani Bandhagan. This department was the slave department. Okay, through using these slaves, he developed karkhanas. Okay, job creation program କରୁଥିଲେ, free hospital କରୁଥିଲେ, welfare department. Okay, he created the Diwani Khairiyat. This is the department of charity or welfare. Okay, to assist poor Muslim families to marry of their daughters, execute public welfare. Okay, made all official positions hereditary. All official positions hereditary regardless of merit. Okay, Ikta system was decentralized to appease the nobles. Okay, this was Firoz Shah Tughlaq military campaign. Okay, mostly weak and symbolic. Bengal campaign ହେଇଥିଲା, but he could not subdue it and made peace with Sikandar. Okay, who accepted nominal suzerainty. Odisha campaign ଗୋଟେ କରିଥିଲେ. He defeated the Raja Gajapati of Jajpur. Okay, because this Raja Gajapati of Jajpur, he was a ally of the Bengal Sultan. Okay, so he captured Cuttack and destroyed the Jagannath temple at Puri. All right. So Kangra, जोटा Himachal, he received tribute from the local rajas. He collected Sanskrit manuscripts from local temples like the Jalamukhi temple. Okay. Thatta, Pakistan, जोटा देखिले faced initial failure but later asserted authority. Okay. Final years रे, so rapid decline in central authority. He abdicated his throne in 1387, named Prince Muhammad as his successor, but the slave department, ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ଦେଖିଲେ Diwani Bandhagan, his slave army, they revolted. Okay, they revolted and Prince Muhammad was forced to flee. Then Firoz Shah appointed his grandson Tughlaq Shah to as the heir. Okay, so ତାପରେ କିଛି କିଛି ତୁଗଲକ ଆସିଥିଲେ କିଛି କିଛି rulers ମାନେ, but they were not of much significance. Okay, ଆଉ ରହିଲେ ଇଲତୁତମିଶ ଉପରେ ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବା। ଶମସୁଦ୍ଦିନ ଇଲତୁତମିଶ, okay, 1211 to 1236. Okay, He was the slave and son-in-law of Qutbuddin Aibak. Okay, he came to power after deposing Aram Baksh. Okay, so initially he served as the head of royal bodyguard, that is Sari Jandar. Okay, Sir E Jandar. Okay, he controlled the Ikta of Badaun. Okay, Badaun. This is now in UP. Okay, Ikta system was started by Iltutmish only. Okay, as I have said, land was divided into smaller Iktas and granted to nobles. Okay, so uh, Badaun Ikta was assigned to Iltutmish. Okay, he belonged to the Ilbari tribe, hence his successors are also called Ilbari Turks. Okay, so ଏଇ ଜିନିଷଟା ତମର ପଡିଥିଲା ତମର UPSC ରେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଦିଥର ପଡିଛି. He refused to help Jalaluddin Khwarazm when Genghis Khan chased him into India after defeat near Ghazli. Okay, so this Khwarazm Empire, it ruled over parts of Central Asia, Iran, Afghanistan. Okay, till the Mongol conquest. ତାଙ୍କର Mongol conquest କେବେ ହେଇଥିଲା? At Khwarazm Empire 1219 ର 1221. Okay, 1221 ରେ Prince Jalaluddin Khwarazm, he was defeated, but Iltutmish did not provide him shelter. Okay, so did not provide him shelter. So the Mongol did not invade India. Okay, 1228 he annexed Multan and Sindh into the Delhi Sultanate, reasserted control over Bihar. Okay, so এটা ସବୁ କିଛି ନାହିଁ ତମେ ଦେଖିଦବ ଏଇଟା. So he captured Malwa, destroyed the Mahakal temple at Ujjain, Iltutmish. Okay, earlier campaigns in Badaun, Kanauj, Banaras were weakened due to autonomy of local rajas. Okay, because he had introduced the Ikta system that led to decentralization of power. Okay, so he received the Mansur from the Abbasid Caliphate that legitimized his rule. He is regarded as the wise statesman. Okay, he promoted talented individuals who strengthened central administration. Okay, so he also appointed his daughter Rajia Sultan as his next heir. Okay, so he introduced this Chahalgani system. The 40 group of 40 loyal slaves formed to counter conspiracies by the nobles. Okay, they were assigned key positions, but they became powerful and influential. Okay, they did serve faithfully during Iltutmish's reign, but turned disruptive after his death because of who will take over this crown. Okay, desire to control every new ruler and monopolize power. This Chahalgani. Okay, so Chahalgani এটা ଥିଲା ତ ତମେ ଜାଣିଥିବ ୟାଙ୍କ ପରେ ବଲବନ ଜଣେ ଆସିଥିଲେ. Okay, he was also a noble. He was also a noble among these 40, the Chahalgani, but he understood their conspiracies and he deposed them cleverly, okay, to take the throne. Okay, so Chahalgani, the impact on politics, they became notorious for greed, lost power, leading to instability. They could overthrow sultans who resisted them and place puppet rulers. Okay, so Barani has observed that the 40 being slaves and high-ranking officers considered themselves equals and were unwilling to submit to one another. Okay, ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଲଢେଇ କରୁଥିଲେ for the throne. Okay, intense rivalry, internal conflict developed among them. Okay, so this was about Iltutmish. Okay, these are all about Iltutmish. So we have seen in detail all the options. Okay, now let us move to the next question. All right, in Mughal period, who translated Atharva Veda in Persian language? Okay, so ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବା Mughal period literature ઉપર ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବା. Okay, so this is a table. So I have collected. Okay, the table ରେ ସବୁ ଅଛି author, name of work and remarks. ତ କିଛି important ଜିନିଷ ଅଛି. Okay. Abul Fazal, Aini Akbari, we have seen history of Akbar's reign. Okay, ଯାହା ବି ସବୁ ଅଛି ତମେ ଦେଖିଦବ ଏଇଟା କିଛି ନାହିଁ କହିବାକୁ. ବଟ୍ ଗୋଟେ କନଫ୍ୟୁଜନ ହେଇପାରେ, ଯେମିତି ସବୁ ଶାହାଜାହାନ ନାମା. ଓକେ, ତ ଏଇ ଦିଟା ବୁକ୍ ସେମ୍ ବଟ୍ ରିଟନ୍ ବାଇ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ଇଣ୍ଡିଭିଜୁଆଲ୍ସ, Muhammad Sali and Inayat Khan. Okay, this describes the history of Shahjahan's reign. Okay, ସେମିତି Safinatul Awliya, okay, Darasiko. Okay, ତ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ କିଛି similar sounding names ଅଛି, ଟିକେ carefully ଦେଖିଦବ ଏଗୁଡା. Okay, so this is a good table for quick revision. Okay, so uh, so first option is Abdul Hamid Nagori. Okay, so during Shahjahan period. Okay, so Abdul Hamid Lahori. So देखो लिखा है जी Abdul Hamid Nagori is also called Abdul Hamid Lahori. Okay, ମୁଁ କୋଉଠି ପାଇଲିନି. This may be a spelling mistake done by OPSC. L L टाको N कर दीजिए. This is Lahori. Okay. So Abdul Hamid Lahori. So he wrote the Patshanama. Okay. Patshanama is a authoritative book on the Emperor of Shahjahan. Okay. So this work is simple, deals with the political and social life, also devoted to scholars and saints. Okay. Reflects the change in religious policy from liberal to conservative. Okay. Again, Muhammad Waris wrote another historical account bearing the same name. Okay. Patshanama. Okay. Historical accounts of Shahjahan's name was under Shahjahan's reign was written by both Inayat Khan and Muhammad Salih. Okay, they also have written similar books, that is Shahjahan Nama. Okay, तो हमें जो देखिए जेमती Shahjahan Nama. This is written by Inayat Khan and Muhammad Salih. Okay, same about history of Shahjahan's reign and Abdul Hamid Lahori. Okay, Abdul Hamid Lahori. এটা को OPSC ଦେଇଛି Nagori. Okay, he has written the book Patshanama about the history of Shahjahan's reign. Okay, Abdul Hamid Lahori. Okay. Now comes Haji Ibrahim Sarhindi. Okay. So Haji Ibrahim Sarhindi. So he worked under Akbar. Okay. He worked under Akbar. Akbar का time पुणे आता था 1556 through 1605. Okay. So Akbar का time में so he was the poet. He was assigned to translate the Atharva Veda in Persian language. Okay, in Akbar's court. Okay, so answer is this. So do not confuse with Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi. Okay, this is not. Okay, this option is not equal to. It may be confusion hey para Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi. Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi was a sufficient of the Naqshbandi order. Okay, so Naqshbandi order means the strict adherence to Sharia and silently remembering God. Silently remembering means no music. Okay, so Haji Ibrahim Sirhindi he translated the Atharva Veda to Persian language. As we know, Akbar followed the policy of Solikul, that is religious tolerance. So he commissioned many writers to translate Hindu texts to Persian. Okay, so Haji Ibrahim Sirhindi. Then comes Kafi Khan. Okay, Kafi Khan. So he wrote under the pen name of Muhammad Hasim. Okay, the pen name thala Muhammad Hasim. Okay, he wrote his book Muntakab ul Lubab. Okay, it was about the reign of Aurangzeb. Okay, Aurangzeb, as you know, his reign was from 1658 to 1707. Okay, so his book was Muntakab ul Lubab. Okay, he wrote this in total secrecy because the emperor opposed it. Okay, emperor opposed it. This was highly impartial and truthful account, and this has recorded the victory of Shivaji over Aurangzeb. Okay, so Kafif Khan he has written Muntakhab ul Lubab. Okay, it will likha ji Kafif Khan Muntakhab ul Lubab about Aurangzeb. Okay, then comes the option Malik Muhammad Jayasi. Okay, Malik Muhammad Jayasi. This was asked in OCS 2017 also. Okay, who wrote the book? Who wrote the account of Padmavat? Okay, Malik Muhammad Jayasi. So, uh, Malik Muhammad Jayasi. He was the court poet of Sher during 1530 to 1540. Okay, Sher as you all know, his name was Farid Khan. His actual name was Farid Khan. He ruled over Bihar. Okay. So Malik Muhammad Jayasi, so he has written some other works also, that is Akhrawat, Akhri Kalam. Okay. Akhri Kalam, this he wrote during the time of Babar. Babar, 1526 to 30. Okay. So again, so he has written Malik Muhammad Jayasi, Tankara timeline 1477 to 1542. Okay. 1477 to 1542. He was born in Jais. Okay. Jais in UP. Okay. UP, India, Jais. Okay. Born in 1477, Jais in Awadh. Okay. So he was a Sufi poet among the spiritual leaders. He was a okay. So his most famous work is Padmavat, written in 1540. At the end of his book, Malik says that he has got old and in beginning. in the beginning of Padmavat, he has wrote a praise of Shersasur. Okay, so Shersasur ro quote point jethila. So he has started this work with the praise of Shersasur. In Padmavat, he has wrote this Padmavat in Awadhi language. Okay, similar to Tulsidas who wrote Ramcharitmanas in Awadhi. Okay, so his poetry. Okay, so Jaisi has not portrayed Alauddin Khilji as a high-profile character in Padmavat, but he has portrayed Raja Ratan Sen, Gora, and Badal of Chittor as a high-profile characters. Okay, so Alauddin Khilji, so he seized Chittorgarh in 1303. Okay, seized Chittorgarh in 1303. So this text has described Alauddin Khilji not as a very high-profile character, as he seized the Chittorgarh fort due to his lust for Rani Padmavati. Okay, so this was all about this option, Malik Muhammad Jayasi. Okay, ଆମର ଏଇ question ଟା ସଇଲା. Next comes the who was elected to House of Commons to speak for Indian interest in 1890. All right, 1890 time ତମେ ଦେଖିବ 1890s ତ ଦାଦା ଭାଇ ନାରୋଜି. Okay, ତ this is the option ତମେ ଯଦି ଜାଣିଥିବ timeline ଟିକେ ତ ଦାଦା ଭାଇ ନାରୋଜି ଉପରେ ଆମେ ପୂର୍ବ କ୍ଲାସ ବି ଦେଖିଥିଲେ. Okay, so he wrote the book he gave the drain of wealth theory. He wrote the book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India, and he also did the first poverty estimation of India during pre-colonial times. Okay, so he was the president of Congress in 1886, 1893, and 1906. Okay, 1906 Calcutta session. He moved the Swaraj resolution. Okay, so Dadabhai Naroji, ଆମେ ଦେଖିଥିଲେ, he founded the East India Association in London. Okay, and again he started newspaper Voice of India. Okay, Bombay Presidency Association ରେ elect ହେଇଥିଲେ. Okay, then history of Indian economic thought for pioneering his work on assessing India's national income. Okay, champion of Swadeshi, but he was not against the use of machines. He started to raise capital for his iron and steel plant at Jamshedpur, the grand old man of India. Okay, Dadabhai Naroji, ଜାଣିଥିଲେ ଏଇଟା. Okay, now the options RC Dutt, RP Dutt, and Madam Kama. Okay, RC Dutt. So, একটা ইমেজটা দেখো, মেবি মনে রাখি পারিব. RC Dutt, Romesh Chandar Dutt. Okay, Romesh Chandar Dutt. He was born in 1899. Okay, sorry, he was the Congress president in 1899 Lucknow. Okay, 15th session the president ଥିଲେ. Okay, Romesh Chandra Dutt was born in 1348. Sorry, 1848. Okay, so he in 1871 he cracked the Indian Civil Service. Okay, he retired from Indian Civil Service in 1897. So while in civil service, he earned a reputation as an orator and was not afraid to express his views. Okay, and his views on causes of poverty in India and the problems of administration, including those related to Ilbert Bill. Okay, were not in line with the official thinking. Okay, so he was not afraid to put forward his anti-colonial views. Okay, so his first book on economic problems of cultivators was Peasantry of Bengal, written in 1875. This is a book. Okay, again, he wrote the book Famines in India. This is published in 1900. He strongly argued that the overassessment of land revenue and extension of the permanent settlement. Okay, overassessment of land revenue was the cause for the recurring famines in India. Okay, again he proposed the extension of permanent settlement of rate-vary areas. Okay, and also permanent fixation of rents that should be paid to rayers. Okay, so he wrote the book India under Early British Rule, 1757 to 1837. Another book, Economic History of India in the Victorian Age, 1902. Okay, so this book, Economic History of India in Victorian Age and India under Early British Rule. So because he was an Indian Civil Service officer, he had the ground reality picture with him. Okay, so he is also called Ramesh Chandra Dutt. Is the pioneer of or father of economic nationalism. Okay, father of economic nationalism or pioneer of economic nationalism. Okay, so તમે જાણશો દાદાભાઈ નારોજી, he also gave the drain of wealth theory. Okay, but he was also, and RC Dutt was also uh, concerned with the economics of India. Okay, now RC Dutt ଗଲା, ଏବେ ଦେଖିଦେବା RP Dutt. RP Dutt is Rajni Palme Dutt. Okay, Rajni Palme Dutt, he is the nephew of R.C. Dutt. Okay, so Rajni Palme Dutt, he was a journalist. His landmark work was India Today. India Today. It was first published in England. Okay, so R.P. Dutt को पूरा टिके देखिदवा about R.P. Dutt. 1896 to 1974, Marxist theorist and journalist in Communist Party of Great Britain. Okay, CPGB, Communist Party of Great Britain. He influenced the book India Today, which introduced the Marxist interpretation of Indian history. Okay, so he was a founding member of CPGB, that is Communist Party of Great Britain. Okay, he was born to an Indian father and Swedish mother. Okay, he also found the Labour Monthly. Okay, a Marxist journal that he edited for 50 years. The served editor of CPGB newspaper Daily Worker. Okay, he co-authored the Dutt Bradley thesis in 1936. So what is the thesis? We'll see. Okay. So Dutt Bradley thesis. This was authored by R.P. Dutt and Ben Bradley. Okay, published in 1936 to guide the strategy of CPI, Communist Party of India. Okay. So Communist Party of India, initially they were reluctant to join with Congress. They called the Congress a bourgeois party and appealed the masses not to join the Congress party. But this Dutt Bradley thesis, they have recognized the Indian National Congress as a key force in anti-imperialist struggle. Okay, so they urged the communists to work with the Congress and establish a broad anti-imperialist people's front. Okay, so this was a strategic shift from CPI's earlier anti-Congress stance. Okay, that is the Dutt Bradley thesis. Okay, again, এটা ওটা দেখতে পাবো. He also he was the father of this conspiracy theory behind the formation of Congress. Okay, what was the conspiracy theory? So that the Indian National Congress was formed at Bombay under the presidency of W.C. Banerjee with A.O. Hume as a playing role. Sorry, A.O. Hume really playing a key role. Okay, so uh, so Hume's involvement marked several conspiracy theories. That is the safety valve theory. Okay, the safety valve theory ଯେମିତି ତମକୁ କହୁଥିଲା ଯେ Congress was a arena for the people to vent out their anger. Okay, so that British will get a long time to rule over India. Okay, so according to R.P. Dutt, Congress was deliberately created under British direction as a safety valve to channel discontent away from the rebellion and revolution. Okay, the revolution को बेसी दबाइले असुविधा हबो किछि किछि मात्रा they should vent out their frustration. Okay, so for that purpose, Congress was built. Okay, this was the theory given by R.P. Dutt. Okay, so this theory originated from William Wedderburn's biography of Hume. Okay, William Wedderburn, you all know, William Wedderburn was the Congress president in Bombay session and Allahabad session. Okay, Bombay 1889 and Allahabad 1910 session. Wedderburn was the president. Okay, so in 1878, Hume discovered several volumes of secret police reports. Okay, and Hume and Dufferin had decided to create an organization to engage educated Indians to provide a platform for grievances. Okay, so that a mass revolt can be prevented. Okay, again, but this theory was rejected. It was as a conspiracy theory. Okay, so that said, Congress was born out of British intention. Okay, this was later debunked because Dufflin's papers showed that British officers did not believe in Hume's predictions. Okay, there is no evidence of seven secret volumes. Okay, and Lord Dufferin, he was the viceroy, viceroy of India. Okay, so he was the viceroy in 1884 to 1888. Okay, and he called the Congress as microscopic minority. Okay, Lord Dufferin called Congress as microscopic minority. Okay, it represented only a tiny elite. So thus this theory of safety valve was refuted. Okay, so this was all about R.P. Dutt. Okay, William Wedderburn. Okay, ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବ ତାଙ୍କ ଉପରେ William Wedderburn. He along with W.S. Kane. Okay, they found the Indian Parliamentary Committee in 1893. 1893, he along with W.S. Kane found the Indian Parliamentary Committee. So this committee was founded to agitate for Indian political reforms in the House of Commons in Britain. Okay, okay. So William Wedderburn. So he wanted to protest for Indians in England in House of Commons also. Okay, again William Wedderburn was a member of the Welby Commission that came to India in 1895, where Dadabhai Naroji popularized his train of wealth theory. Okay, so about now comes the Madam Kama. Okay, Madam Bhikaiji Kama. She is called the mother of Indian Revolution. All right. So she was born in 1861, Bombay, into a Parsi family. Okay. She married Rustam Kama, wealthy pro-British lawyer, but they had marital differences because of her nationalist views. Okay. In 1896, while serving plague victims, she contracted plague. Okay. And after contradicting, she went to London for treatment. Okay, and there she was involved in freedom movement. Okay, she developed connections with Dadabhai Naroji and Samaji Krishna Verma. Samaji Krishna Verma, founder of India House. Okay, she founded the Paris India Society in 1905. Paris Indian Society with Munchersa B. Godrej and S.R. Rana. Okay, see, this Munchersa B. Godrej, ଆଜି ଯୋଉ ଗୋଦରେଜ ଗୋଦରେଜ ତମେ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଦେଖୁଛ that makes the almiras. Okay, see, Muncher Shah Godrej was associated with this family, okay, but he was not the founder of this Godrej company, okay. So Muncher Shah B Godrej was associated with this family, okay, and S.R. Rana, that is Sardar Singhji Rawaji Rana, okay, S.R. Rana, S.R. Rana, Muncher Shah Godrej, and Madam Kama, they found the Paris Indian Society in 1905, okay. So she published revolutionary literature, including the poem Vande Mataram. Okay, she published the newspaper Vande Mataram and followed the national magazine Madam's Talwar. Okay, in memory of Madan Lal Dhingra. Okay, this is it. Sorry, sir. This is Madan's Talwar. Okay, in memory of Madan Lal Dhingra. Okay. In August 1907, she raised the flag for Indian independence at the International Socialist Conference in Stuttgart, Germany. Okay. This tricolor flag, green, yellow, red, symbolized Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism. Okay. This brought global attention to India's demand for independence. Okay. So this was the flag. Green, yellow. Okay. Green, yellow, and red. So was elected to House of Commons, Dadabhai Naroji. Okay. Amazon Dekhle, he was a civil servant. He was a Marxist. Madam Mikaji Kama was a revolutionary activist. Okay. So Dadabhai Naroji was a moderate who was elected to House of Commons. Okay. So moderate believed in constitutional reforms. Okay. Now comes the next question. Okay. Just a second. Now, least cost approach in industry allocation. So I don't know why this question is being asked in a GS paper. This is associated with geography optional. Okay. So least cost approach in industrial equation, the answer is Weber. Okay. About Weber, तो जहाँ भी option वाला देखिए Christaller, Smith, Hudson या फिर भी देखिए दवा. Okay. Christaller gave the central place theory. Central place theory. Okay. तो तांकर theory कौन ଥିଲା जे गोटे central place ରହିବ ए central place रे बहुत उड़े माने specialized condition ରହିବ that will cater to the needs of नियर बाय विलेजेस ओके जेमती छोट छोट विलेज सब अछि छोट छोट विलेज ए सब विलेज कम ए सब विलेज मानकर सब किछि जिंस अवेलेबल नथिबो ओके तो एई सब विलेज मानको कैटर करिवो गोटे सेंट्रल विलेज दैट इज अ स्पेशलाइज्ड विलेज ओके स्पेशलाइज्ड विलेज विल कैटर टू द डिमांड ऑफ द ओरिजिनल हैमलेट्स और स्मॉल विलेजेस ओके तो लाइक ए सर्कल ओके जेमती सपोज तमरो गोटे सपोज तहसील ऑफिस दिस तहसील विल कैटर टू द स्मॉल villages okay so this Tahsil office should be strategically located in a such a place that the distance between all the villages is optimum. Okay. So this is central place theory. Okay. तो जेमती देखिले तर central place theory जदि circle wise arrange ହେଲା तो किछि किछि gap रहि जाउछि. These areas are areas of vacuum. These are unserved areas. Okay. Complementary area जोटा कि so जो area complementary area कौन जोटा कि एई area को serve करिवो this place. This central place will serve this complementary areas. Okay. So a area complementary area is within this circle. Okay. So but in the circular arrangement कले किसी vacuum रही जीवो. Okay. जदि हमें vacuum को vacuum को superimpose कर दवा ताहले ए एरिया रे दी जन का एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन रहइबो यार एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन रहइबो यार भी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन रहइबो सो एटा गोटा प्रॉब्लम एरिया पे ओवरलैप हे जीवो ओके सो हेक्सागोनली अरेंज करो ओके दिस इज अ स्पेसिफिक विलेज दिस विल कैटर टू दिस मच एरिया ओके हेक्सागोनल अरेंजमेंट ऑफ places okay so these places these places a hexagonal arrangement hele ethi bi road fort bi je tame kari paribo, township bi kari paribo, that will be that will optimally design he paribo jota ki cater to the needs of maximum population. Okay, so this is the central place theory of crystal iron. Okay, now rahila Weber kar industrial location theory. Okay, so attach Korean. Okay, so but I'll say it. Okay, industrial location theory. Weber, so he devised a least cost approach. Okay, least cost approach. Generally, suppose it is market achi. Okay, market achi. Suppose it is raw material one achi, raw material two achi. Okay, raw material two ki labor ho eta. Okay, तो कोउ जगार इंडस्ट्री लोकेशन रहिले मार्केट को भी दबाको सुविधा हबो, रॉ मटेरियल प्रोक्योर करिया को सुविधा हबो, लेबर को भी आनिया को सुविधा हबो. ओके, so କୋଉ ଜାଗାରେ ରହିଲେ ତ ଏଠି ideal location ଆମେ find କରିପାରିବା so that the cost will be least after considering the raw material transport cost, labor cost and taking the goods to the market से cost ସବୁ cost मिसेकी least cost କୋଉ location ରେ ହେଲେ company ର କୋଉ location ରେ ହେଲେ least cost ପଡିବ to company. Okay, so that is the Weber's least cost approach. Okay, of industrial location. Okay, industry location. तो ତମେ ଏଇଟା ଦେଖିପାରିବ ଆମର ଯେମିତି ଜାମଶେଦପୁର ପାୱାର ପ୍ଲାଣ୍ଟ. ଓକେ, Tata Steel plant at Jamshedpur, that follows the Weber's least cost approach. Okay, ଯେମିତି ଜାମଶେଦପୁର ତାଙ୍କର water ମିଳି ଯାଉଛି from ସୁବର୍ଣ୍ଣରେଖା, ଖରକାଇ rivers. Okay, ଦାମୋଦର ଭ୍ୟାଲି କର୍ପୋରେସନ କରାହେଇଛି ବି ଦାମୋଦର river ଉପରେ ଯୋଉଟା କି ହାଇଡ୍ରୋ ଇଲେକ୍ଟ୍ରିକ ପାୱାର ବି procure କରାହଉଛି. Coal can be procured from Jharkhand at Jharia mines and Raniganj in West Bengal. Okay, so this is Jharkhand. This is the steel plant. Okay, ତମର ଝାରଖଣ୍ଡ ରୁ ଝରିଆ ଆଉ ରାଣୀଗଞ୍ଜ ରୁ କୋଲ ଆସିପାରିବ. ଓକେ, ଆଇରନ ଓର ତମର ଛତିଶଗଡ଼ ରୁ ଆସିପାରିବ ବୈଲାଢିଲା ମାଇନ୍ସ କି ତମର କେଉଁଝର ଯୋଡା ଓଡିଶାର ଗୋରୁ ମହାସନୀ ହିଲ୍ସ. ଓକେ, ଗୋରୁ ମହାସନୀ ହିଲ୍ସ ଯୋଉଟା କି ରାଇରଙ୍ଗପୁର ଓଡିଶାରେ ଅଛି, କେଉଁଝର ଯୋଡା କି ବୈଲାଢିଲା ମାଇନ୍ସ ରୁ ଆଇରନ ଓର ଆସିପାରିବ. କୋଲ ଆସିଲା ଏଠୁ. ଓକେ, ତମର ଏଠୁ ଗଲା ଆଇରନ ରୁ ଗଲା. ଓକେ, ତମର ୱାଟର ବି ଏଇଠୁ ଯାଉଛି, ସବୁ ୱାଟର ବି ଯାଇଛି ତ ଏଇ ଥ୍ରୁ ଦେଇକି ମାନେ ନିୟର ବାଇ ଟୁ ଦ ପ୍ଲାଣ୍ଟ. ଓକେ, ମାର୍କେଟ ଆକ୍ସେସ କୁ ଯେମିତି କାଲକାଟା ଏଠି ରହିଲା, ମୁମ୍ବାଇ ଏଠି ରହିଲା, ମାର୍କେଟ ଯେମିତି କାଲକାଟା ଟୁ ମୁମ୍ବାଇ ରେଲୱେ ଲାଇନ ହାଜ ଅଲରେଡି ବିନ୍ ଏଷ୍ଟାବ୍ଲିଶ ବାଇ ଦ ବ୍ରିଟିଶ. ଏଠି ତମର ମାର୍କେଟ କୁ ବି ପାଖ ପଡିଲା. ଓକେ, ତ ତମକୁ ଫ୍ୟୁଚରରେ ବି ତମ ଏଠି ବିଶାଖାପାଟନମ ପୋର୍ଟ ଅଛି, ପାରାଦୀପ ପୋର୍ଟ ଅଛି, କାଲକାଟା ହୁଗଲି ପୋର୍ଟ ଅଛି. ତମେ ଏଠୁ ବି ତମେ ମାର୍କେଟ କୁ ପଠେଇ ପାରିବ ତମ raw material କୁ. Okay, so after considering all these locations, this place was considered to be the optimal location for the industry that will lead to lowest cost. Okay, so ଏଇଟା ହଉଛି ତମର ଚିପ୍ ଲେବର. ଓକେ, ତ ଏଇ ଜାଗାର ଏରିଆର ପୁଣି ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ହଉଛି ଚିପ୍ ଲେବର ବି ତମେ ପାଇପାରିବ ଇନ ଦ ଟ୍ରାଇବାଲ ଏରିଆଜ ଅଫ ବିହାର ଝାରଖଣ୍ଡ. ଓକେ, ବିହାର ଝାରଖଣ୍ଡ ଓଡିଶା ଚିପ୍ ଲେବର ବି ଆସିପାରିବ. ତ ଏ ସବୁ ଦେଖିକି ଇଣ୍ଡଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ସେଟଅପ୍ କରାଯାଇଛି ଜାମଶେଦପୁର. ଓକେ, so this is the application of Weber industrial location. Okay, now Smith about the uh, this is the D. E. Smith. Okay, this talks about D. E. Smith about industrial location. Industrial location theory. So just remember it. His theory, D. E. Smith, is called the special margin theory. Special margin theory or the area cost curve theory. तो କିଛି ଏଟା ମାନେ ବୁଝିବା କିଛି ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ. ଡିଷ୍ଟାନ୍ସ ବଢିଲେ ତମର ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ କମିବ, ତ ଏଇ ଏରିଆରେ ରହିଲେ ତ ଇଣ୍ଡଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ୱିଲ୍ ମେକ୍ ପ୍ରଫିଟ, ଏଇ ଏରିଆରୁ ନ ରହିଲେ ଇଣ୍ଡଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ୱିଲ୍ ମେକ୍ ଲସ୍. ଓକେ, so ବେଶୀ କିଛି ବୁଝିବା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ. ଡି ସ୍ମିଥ୍ his theory is related to industrial location. Okay, now comes Hartstone. Okay, Richard Hartstone. Okay, Richard Hartstone, he is a geographer. Okay, he is a geographer. He gave the importance of regional geography against the standardization of models or theories. Okay, model man one size fits all. What a model that will be applicable for every area. But Hudson says every region has different requirements. We should not take one size fits all approach. And so alga area, different area, different requirements. So he gave the importance to uniqueness of geographical areas rather than standard models. Okay, so he coined the word areal differentiation is mentioned by Hudson in his book Nature of Geography. Okay, so nature is not equal everywhere. there is variation in character, intensity, magnitude, and phenomena of climate and vegetation. This term areal differentiation was coined and used by Hartson. Okay, as I've seen, this gives a scientific and rational definition of geography. Okay, so this is related to Richard Hartson. He gave the concept of areal differentiation and regional synthesis. Okay, so Hartson gala, Smith gala, Weber, Christaller. Okay. तो ଏଇ ଯୋଉ କ୍ରିଷ୍ଟାଲ ତମେ ଯଦି ମୁଁ ଏଟାକୁ ଏତେ ଡିଟେଲରେ କାହିଁକି ସବୁ କହିଲି ତମ କ୍ରିଷ୍ଟାଲ ତମର ନେକ୍ସଟ ଇୟର କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ ରେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ ହେଇକି ଆସିଥିଲା ସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରାଲ ପ୍ଲେସ୍ ଥିଓରି ଲୋକେଟେଡ୍ ଟୁ ହ୍ୱିଚ୍ ସ୍କଲାର ଓକେ ତ ଏଇଗୁଡା ପଚାରିବା କଥା ନୁହଁ ବଟ୍ ଓପିସି ଯେହେତୁ ପଚାରିଛି ତ ଆମେ ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବା କଥା ତାର ଅପସନ ର ଡିଟେଲ ଗୁଡା ଓକେ ତ which of the following is a primary activity so mining processing fabrication manufacturing of course mining okay ତ ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବା about economic activities okay their economic activities, activities that generate income, classified into primary, secondary, tertiary, and again, tertiary sector is further divided into quaternary and quinary activity. Okay, primary activity dependent on environment. Okay, so they directly depend on environment, that is land, water, minerals. Okay, just like hunting and gathering, pastoralism, fishing, forestry, agriculture, mining. Okay, so workers engaged in this sector are red collar workers. Okay, secondary, they add value to raw materials procured from primary activities through manufacturing, processing, and construction. Okay. They are concerned with industry and infrastructure. They are called blue collar workers. Okay. They add value to the output of primary activity. Okay. They transform the raw material through value addition. Okay. Tertiary activities. Okay. Related to management and exchange of goods. Okay. Mostly intangibles. Mostly intangibles. Okay. So involves in production exchange of services. That is, production is provision of consumer services, exchange is trade, transport, communication, like the banking ho, management ho, okay, governance ho. These are white collar workers. Okay. Tertiary activities ର ତିନିଟା ପ୍ରକାର ଅଛି ଗୋଟେ quaternary ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ quinary. Okay. Quaternary activity they are specialized tertiary services in knowledge sector especially like software development, tax consultation, mutual fund manager, lawyer who, okay, statistician, okay, education, health, accounting, okay they can be outsourced okay but they are not geographically restricted okay so these are called purple collar workers okay quaternary activities and quinary activities concerned with creativity idea creation innovation technology use data interpretation okay high level of decision making way that is senior business executive policy makers legal and financial consultants scientists okay these are called gold collar professions okay high level of influence in advanced economies but they have low numbers okay but they are high paying jobs this quaternary sector okay so sorry quinary sector okay quaternary activity they are mixture of blue and white collar jobs okay mixture of blue and white collar jobs these are quaternary activities all right so horticulture is widely farmed in which region okay horticulture is widely farmed in which region okay तो जहाँ पे सब देइछ ऑप्शन ताउ देखि दवा मेडिटेरियन रीजन ओके सो मेडिटेरियन रीजन ये देखि दबो एटा देखो एटा होची 40 डिग्री नॉर्थ और 40 डिग्री साउथ भितर कंसंट्रेटेड अछि मेडिटेरियन रीजन ओके तमरो मझे हबो इक्वेटर should pass through this okay 0 degree equator passes through this okay 0 degree तो या to 40 degree north 40 degree south okay तो मेडिटेरियन रीजन केमती काम करे तो ଟିକେ ଦେଖିदବା एई रीजन को देखो मेडिटेरियन एरिया को ओके तो तमरो नॉर्मली जदी 0 डिग्री नॉर्थ 0 डिग्री साउथ थिबो तमरो ट्रेड विंड्स एमती बुहे ओके वेस्टर्लीज एमती बुहे ओके बट व्हाट हैपेंस ड्यूरिंग समर द ITCZ shifts to north okay ITCZ shifts to north so just a second. So what happens during summer? The ITCZ shifts to north. Okay, माने 40 डिग्री तो नुह 23.5 डिग्री पंतर सन जीव नॉर्थ को ओके 23.5 डिग्री गले अबाउट 40 डिग्री जदि एटा अछि तो ए एरिया को पळेबो तमरो ITCZ ओके ITCZ जेतु एरिया को पळेबो ओके तो तमरो ट्रेड विंड्स एमती फ्लो करिवे ओके जदि ट्रेड विंड्स एमती फ्लो कले ओके ट्रेड विंड्स एमती फ्लो कले तो व्हाट हैपन द ट्रेड विंड्स ब्रिंग देयर ऑफशोर विंड्स ओके ड्यूरिंग समर ओके समर हेले आईटीसीजेड शिफ्ट करियो ऊपर को तो इक्वेटर जब शिफ्ट कला सॉरी आईटीजेड जब शिफ्ट कला तो ट्रेड विंड्स बिकम ऑफशोर विंड्स तो लैंड रू ओशन को से माने मूव करिवे तो दीज आर ड्राई विंड्स ओके तो जेतो ड्राई विंड्स दे विल द समर्स विल रिमेन ड्राई ओके summers will remain dry. So Mediterranean area re hot and dry summer हुए. Okay. So again, what happens in winter now? इटा भी हम देखता winter रे कौन हुए? Winter रे the ITCZ shifts below. Okay. तलु का हरी पड़ेगा. So trade winds will blow like this and westerlies will blow like this. Okay. Because westerlies are blowing like this, they will take the moisture from the ocean and make it rain in the land. Okay. तो ocean रो westerlies माने wind को moisture नेबे और land रे वर्षा हबो. Okay. So in Mediterranean climate, the winter is dry and hot, and in the winter there is rainfall. Okay. Winter रे rainfall हुए. Okay. So why this happens? As we have seen, due to the seasonal reversal of winds. Okay. Seasonal reversal of winds, okay, due to shifting of IT season. Okay, so Mediterranean climate, okay, warm temperate climate, okay, between 30 degree north to 40 degree north and south of equator. Okay, climate is relatively pure in the world, entirely confined to the western margins of continental land masses. Okay, the basic cause of this climate is seasonal shift of wind belts, as I have explained. Okay, so dry, warm summer, wet, cold winters, and local winds. Okay, so during summer month, over a Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, influence of westerlies is shifted polewards, as I've said. During trade winds are likely to be offshore. Okay, summer where trade winds become offshore. You know, they do thus there is no precipitation. Okay, so summer is hot and dry. Okay, so practically rainless summer remains dry. Heat is intense. Days are excessively warm. Interiors prolonged in the interior continents. Prolonged droughts are common. Okay, humidity is low. Okay, summer temperature देखिले high रहिबो. Okay, away from coast, continental interior, Balkan Peninsula, Anatolian Plateau. This is Turkey. Okay, Turkey and Mediterranean area. Okay, winter account way in the winter month, westerlies belt shift equatorwards, and the Mediterranean regions are under the influence of onshore westerlies. Okay, onshore westerlies. These onshore westerlies take the moisture from sea and deliver it to the land. Okay, land receive almost all of that precipitation during winter month. Okay, the rain comes in heavy downpour, causes floods in the months of September, October in the Mediterranean and Europe. Okay, what is the vegetation type? ତମେ ଦେଖିଲ ଯେମିତି summer ରେ dry ଅଛି, summer ରେ କିଛି ନାହିଁ, ତ the vegetation will try to conserve water in summer. Okay, so the vegetation is not luxuriant. Trees with small broad leaves. Okay, small and broad leaves to restrict transpiration. Okay, they are not widely spaced. Okay, बहुत लीफ नहीं, बहुत लीफ रहे मॉइस्चर पड़ेगा. ओके, plants are in continuous struggle against heat and excessive evaporation. Okay, generally xerophytic or drought resistant. Okay, so core cock. Okay, Australia eucalyptus. Okay, giant sequoia redwood. Okay, pine, fir, cedar. Okay, so types of forest evergreen achi, evergreen coniferous achi, bushes and shrubs. Bushes and shrubs, these are the most prominent type of Mediterranean vegetation. Okay, bushes grow in scattered clumps and often thorny. Okay, so जेहेतु देखो तुमरा ड्राई समर अच्छी तो द प्लांट्स विल ट्राई टू कंजर्व वाटर. ओके, तो जेमती सिट्रस फ्रूट जेमती ऑरेंज हो, लेमन हो, सो तमाने कोन ताका बाहर पटे गोटे मोटा लेयर ऑफ स्किन अछि टू रेस्ट्रिक्ट ट्रांसपिरेशन, ताको भीतरटा वाटर अछि. ओके, so that is the peculiar case in Mediterranean vegetation. Okay, so cattle farming is not important in the Mediterranean because the rains comes in cool season where the growth is slow. Okay, so grass बेसी हेई पारेन, grass नहीं जदि animal rearing नहीं, cattle farming is not an occupation. Okay, so economics, it is important for food cultivation, cereal growing, wine making. Okay, citrus fruits was okay, they conserve water. These regions are known as the world's orchard lands. Okay, fruit trees have long roots to draw water from depth during long summer month. Okay, and the makeup of the fruits, they conserve water. Okay, crops, cereals are the most important crops. Wheat is the leading crop. Okay, climatic conditions not favorable for extensive cultivation of wheat. Okay, mountain pastures, cooler climates support few sheep, goat, and cattle. Kich jagar हुए. Okay. Transhumance is widely practiced. Transhumance means the migration of the livestock rearers. Okay. Wine cultivation, that is viticulture, is a specialty and tradition of the Mediterranean region. Okay, so the long summers allow the grapes to ripen. Okay, regions bordering the Mediterranean Sea account for 3/4 of the world's production of wine. All right. So from the Mediterranean climate is found in South Australia, Africa, South Africa no, the end point of African continent. Okay, Chile area रे भी ଆଉ ତମର ଏପଟେ ବି କାଲିଫର୍ଣ୍ଣିଆ ଏରିଆରେ ବି ଆଉ ତମର ଏଇ ଏରିଆଟା Mediterranean Sea area. Okay, ତ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରେ ନାସିକ ଏରିଆ ବି that has Mediterranean type of climate. Okay, so answer is Mediterranean region. Okay, horticulture. Then temperate region, tropical region, subtropical region. So ଏଇଟା ଦେଖ କିଛି specific ଦେଇନି. Okay, tropical region ଯେମିତି 23.5 degree north south. Okay, temperate region. Okay, ତମର 23.5 degree north or south ରୁ 66.5 degree north south. Okay, that is the temperate area. Subtropical region, uh, subtropical region ଟିକେ tropical area ର ଟିକେ ଉପର ଯୋଉଟା କି 23.5 degree north or south ରୁ ତମର about 40 କି 35 degree 40 degree north south. Okay, so this is the equator 0 degree, this is 23.5, this is the 66.5, this is okay. So this is the temperate area, this is the tropical area, subtropical area is this much. Okay, 23.5 to 40 degree. Okay, so देखो याका भितर बहुत गुटे क्लाइमेटिक वेरिएशन अछि ट्रॉपिकल एरिया भितर मॉनसून एरिया अछि तमर इक्वेटोरियल एरिया अछि ओके तमर जे टेम्परेट एरिया रे बहुत टाइप अछि तमर लॉरेंशियन टाइप क्लाइमेट अछि ब्रिटिश टाइप क्लाइमेट अछि तो बहुत गुटे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट अछि ओके तो 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 horticulture पचारजी especially horticulture related to specific region, that is Mediterranean region. Okay, so these are wide things. Okay, this is just specific option. So specific option is the answer. And the Mediterranean region में किसी किसी local winds भी है. Okay, local winds like the as you all know Mistral हो, on हो, Sirocco हो, Bora. Okay, these are the local winds that blow during the in the Mediterranean areas. Okay, so this was the question. Okay, ठीक है. So again, this is the last question for today. Okay, the line joining points with equal cloud cover. Okay, तो पचाची इसी बार पचाची this is the spelling mistake एटा अछि iso bar हबो एटा not इसी बार. Okay, iso bar, iso means same, bar is related to pressure. Okay, so तुम जानते हो एटा one bar, one bar is the average atmosphere pressure. Okay, atmosphere pressure at sea level. Okay, so one bar is equal to 100 kilopascal. Okay, 100 kilopascal or 10 to the power 5 pascals. Okay, 1 pascal is 1 newton per meter square. एटा तुम जानथिबो. Okay, so bar की atmosphere जदि थिबो, one atmosphere is 1.01325 bar. Okay, so bar means pressure. Okay, so the it has distribution of air pressure. So these are isobars. Okay, these lines are isobars. Okay, isobars are used to predict the low and high pressure areas that will lead to cyclones. Okay, high pressure area ho, low pressure area ho. Isobars are lines joining the points of same pressure. Okay, isonep. Okay, isonep, iso means same. These are lines of equal cloud cover. Okay, so nep, iso means same. Nep is a Greek word. Okay, Greek word that means cloud. Okay, sorry, nep is derived from the Greek word, that Greek word nephos. Okay, nephos, this means cloud. Similarly, iso iso heights, this is derived from the Greek word iso means same. This is derived from the Greek word huetos. Huetos means rain. Okay, iso tag iso means same. Tag is refers to from the Greek word takis. Okay, takis means speed. Okay, speed. So okay, so isonep, these are the sorry, isonep are the lines of equal cloud cover. Okay, so these lines are used in meteorology to analyze cloud density patterns that will forecast precipitation. Okay, ISONET. Okay, line joining equal cloud cover. So our answer is ISONET. Okay, then isoheights. These are the lines connecting the places on a map that have received same amount of rainfall or snowfall, that is same amount of precipitation in a specific period. Okay, so this is isoheights. Okay, same amount of precipitation. Isotap. These are the lines on map connecting points of equal wind speed. Okay, wind speed. So this is isotap. All right. So बाकी रहेगा. बाकी next question we'll see in the next class. Okay. Thank you very much.